Hey, you are tuned in to the Lick Show on Hits 92.3 with your girl KELZ, and we are going to talk about the topics to discuss before you get into any type of relationship. We'll be right back. Hits 92.3. You are now tuned in to Hits 92.3, where we take great pride in personal expression of one's feelings, thoughts, or ideals. What you're getting ready to hear on this show are the opinions of the hosts and their guests, and they do not reflect the opinions of Hits 92.3 radio station, the brand, management, staff, their respective advertisers, parent companies, or affiliates. Now stay tuned as this show begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. For getting into a relationship. And I honestly think that people do not talk enough. They go off of feelings and emotions. They may go off of the situation that they are currently in, but they don't have the deep and serious conversations before locking in with a person. And when I say relationship, it could be friends with benefits, it could be situationship, it could be a actually full on monogamous relationship, or enter an engagement or marriage. So whatever that you are locking yourself into with another human being, and to me, just giving your body to somebody. I mean, you can give your time and attention, but your body. Um, Atlanta has a huge HIV rate, so let me throw that out there. Uh, have these discussions, y'all. These are serious conversations that we should be having more in these relationship conversations, because we're always talking about what a man should do and what a woman should do, but we don't talk about the serious things that need to be discussed. So I'm just going to give off a couple of things that I would have discussions about prior to getting into. Let's start with, I guess, what situationships and friends with benefits. First of all, what we doing is my first question. How do you see this playing out? I always ask the other person. I don't always give what I want up front, because I'm a pretty neutral person. So whatever it is that that person wants to do, I'm not saying that I will or I won't agree with it, but I definitely want to know where the man's head is at first. So if I decide to enter into a situationship or a friends with benefits, what are we doing? I want to know what your expectations are of me, and what can I expect, or what do I get out of this deal if I enter this situationship with you? Are we only sleeping with each other? Are we only calling when we're bored or we're horny and that's all we want? Are we hanging out? Are we going on trips? Are we shopping? Are we meeting each other's family? Are we acting like a relationship without the title? Are we still just friends when we out and about and nobody knows we got anything going on, and we like sending secret texts across and eye contact across the room? Like, what are we doing? That's what I want to know going in. Sean, call 404-254-4347. Let me put this number in if anybody wants to call in and discuss it. So the topic, if you're just coming in, is topics to discuss before getting into any type of relationship. That can be a friends with benefit, that could be a sneaky link, that could be a situationship, that could be getting into a full-on monogamous relationship, an engagement, marriage. So any kind of relationship that goes with another person of romantic or sexual interest, I think should have a true discussion prior to. Let me put this number in again. If you're on YouTube, you can leave a comment and we will read your comment off, or you can call in, and that telephone number, hold on, let me put this in. The telephone number is 404 254 4347. And let me save that. Um, so again, that is the first thing I'm going to ask is, what are we doing? What is the expectation? That'll at least let me know if I'm willing to be in it, if I can handle it. I might not be able to handle it. If a person came at me, which years ago, this had to be 2012, 2013. I still remember the guy. I remember his name. We see each other online, but we don't talk at all. And I was super offended because at that point in my life, I thought everything had to be monogamous relationship. I thought everything had to be marriage, or anything outside of that was just, it wasn't right. This man was like, I only want sex. I don't want to hang out. I don't want to go on dates. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. He was like, it's just sexual for me. We call each other when we want some, and when we don't, we don't. And I appreciate the fact that he said that, but I was mad. I was so offended that he would even come at me that way. The older I get these type of um proposals all the time. And I thought it was something that I was doing. I was like, I don't dress how I used to dress. I don't talk about the things that I used to talk about. I don't twerk online. I don't post videos of all that. I was like, why are men coming at me like this? The more women that I talk to have the same exact thing going on, that they feel like men are coming at them with propositions of situationships and friends with benefits. And the older I get, I was absolutely understanding why those come. Um, that the dating pool, they always say the dating pool got pee in it. I don't necessarily feel like the dating pool has pee in it, but it's harder to swim in some of these murky waters. I'll say my dating pool didn't have pee in it. I had a few that I could choose from, and there were guys that literally wanted relationships. So I won't say that. But I will say it's a lot more convenient to just have situationships and friends with benefits and sneaky links. And again, when I used to be so opposed to it before, those type of relationships, I would need to know for myself, because I'm not the person that you can just have sex with and that's it. And I'm just cool with that. We just call each other from time to time. You do your thing, I do my thing, and when we leave a club or whatever, we call each other after. I know a lot of people are into that. That's cool. That is probably the easiest one to have, because there's no form of commitment, there's no expectations, and if you're comfortable with that person, you don't have to do extra, because you ain't got to impress them. You ain't trying to go nowhere with it. With me, if I'm in a situationship, this is where my friends be like, "Girl, you tripping? You got to take me out." Right? So I won't even go down the line of all the things that I would want. I would just say I want the relationship without the title if I'm in a situationship. I want the dates. I want the we talk every single day. We ain't missing no days talking. I want to talk about business and life and relationships, and I like we talk about everything as if we were in a full-on relationship without having to have the full-on commitment, because maybe we're not ready for that. So if I'm in a situationship, that is the one that works for me. There are men that do the exact same thing. They want a woman that they can have this companion that they don't have to put a title on and have responsibilities to, because sometimes you don't want to introduce your kids to everybody. But you are a human and you have needs, emotionally and sexually. So you want to find somebody that you trust that can give you all without dealing with a bunch of people. I want all of this stuff from one person, but this one person doesn't necessarily have to be my man. So that's what I would look for in a situationship if I'm doing that. If I'm entering a relationship, I first need to know, what type of relationship are you looking for? Because you could still be with somebody and be committed to this person and still have all this extra relationships going on. I know people always say, well, that's a situationship. No, situationship has no title, no responsibilities. Relationships have titles and responsibilities. You can also have conversations within those of boundaries and the things that you want to do with and without those actual relationships. So before I get into a serious relationship, I need to know, do you want this to be open or do you want this to be closed? However, we start is going to be hard for me to move into another direction. So if I was to get in a relationship with somebody and they say they want a open relationship, and we are going further into the relationship, it's going to be hard for me to transfer over to monogamous if you decide later you want monogamous, because I've put you in, I don't want to say a box. I categorize people. I do that all the time. So I would categorize how this relationship works. If I know it's open, I'm going to always assume that there's another person on your end. I'm not necessarily asking for an open relationship for me. That's going to start a whole nother conversation that I don't want to get into as to why. But I told somebody, because they asked me why I would ask about an open relationship. And this is going to crucify me, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't believe men can naturally be monogamous. I feel like it's hard work, and some of them are great at working at being monogamous, and it doesn't come natural. And some men are going to be like, I ain't never cheated on my girl, and you are the 1%. Like you got your 1% that make over six figures. You got your 1% that can be 1,000% monogamous in a relationship. So I always offer that because okay,
Like it's something that a lot of people don't add to that too. Some of y'all men ain't cheating because don't nobody else want them.
go ahead. What you mean? What you
Some of
mean?
y'all men not cheating because
Oh,
don't nobody else want
and
them.
that's why they monogamous,
They
or
monogamous
they
because
just don't
they
leave the house.
or they got a horrible personality. Their personality is dull as dishwater, and you the only one who could deal with him, honey.
Dang, I didn't even
So
think about that.
some
So that's
people,
why some. So
yeah, your
you
man is.
believe that all men cheat?
I believe that some men are choosing to be monogamous. I
Okay,
believe some men choose not to be monogamous, and I believe that some men are monogamous by society.
gotcha. And I'll go on record and say, even though I feel like that, I don't. I'm not bitter towards men. So if women say, "Oh, men can't be faithful," they always have something negative to add to that. Mine is complete opposite. I feel like men can't be faithful, so let me take that off the table for you if being faithful is going to be hard. And most women aren't going to think like that. So I'm always going to ask, is this open or is it closed? And it probably shocks most men. And Sunshine had a great point. Men will probably always say closed because they don't want to see nobody else with you. I didn't even think about that part of it. Yeah, I can see anybody I've been with would flip the table to know I would do the things I would do with you with somebody else. I completely understand. And I feel the same way. Anybody that I'm with, what they do to me, I couldn't fathom seeing them do it to somebody else. That's why I couldn't do a threesome. Because I know what you do to me. I don't want you giving her what you give me. So again, open or closed. You said unless they want to watch? Unless you can watch. Oh, I definitely can't watch. Hell no. I can't watch that. So if it's gonna be open, right. If it's open, then we got to have now that's another conversation because now we got to put boundaries on the openness. You can't just be out and about taking this chick to the movies and out to dinner and in a full-on relationship while you're in a relationship with me. That means we just don't need to be in a relationship. But if it's going to be open, we got to figure out what works for us within this openness of what we have, because again, I don't want any diseases either, and I don't want to give anybody any diseases. So boundaries within the openness. Now, if we are closed, that also has boundaries. Now, we're closed. Does that mean I got to give up my friends? Because you want only me. Does that mean my time and attention goes to that too? Can I have male friends? Friends that's been around way before you came around. If I used to hang out with my friends, if we all used to go on vacations together, does all of that end? My specific situation, my kid's father and my kids, we both still take the kids out to eat once a month. We go to dinner or we go to lunch. The four of us. It's not me and my ex, and it's not just me and the kids. We all go together. Getting into relationships, is that going to be an issue going into a monogamous relationship with somebody, or just a relationship with somebody? Period. Is that going to be an issue? That's a conversation that has to be discussed within my personal relationship if that was the case. David Frazier said, if you have an open relationship, you might as well be single. I mean, you could say that about polygamy. And I have two very great friends that are polygamous, and it works for them. They sleep with women together, they find women together, but the core of their foundation is the two of them. At the end of the day, it's them. If one of them isn't cool with the other person joining their union, they're out. So I used to feel that way until I learned more about all these different forms of relationships. Um, so yeah, if I'm in a monogamous relationship, I'm cool with either one, and that might make a man uncomfortable too, to know that I'm cool with either being monogamous or having an open relationship, because whatever the rules are in either one, I'm going to respect and follow those. Um, So that's the first question. Now, the next question when I'm in a actual relationship is, where do we go from here? Because if we went from just being friends and we went dating and courting and all that extra stuff, now it's just exclusive to where people seem, not seem, but you naturally get comfortable. Because now you're in a relationship, you ain't got to do all the stuff trying to get their attention, trying to get them to take you out or get them to want to go out with you. Y'all are together now. So do we hang out at each other's house? Does date night stop? Does date night keep going? Are we introducing each other to each other's kids? What are we doing in this part of the relationship? Because that's the part that I always find tricky with new relationships, is when to introduce the kids to your new full on monogamous partner. Do you do it right away? Or do you see how this plays out, seeing how you work together? Because some people could get in a relationship and find out that they don't even like each other as much. Or they like each other so much that they don't want to date as long and they want to enter into engagement. So I always find that gray area as into, when do you bring this person around your family and friends? Like, should this be your boyfriend girlfriend after 6 months and you bring them around, or do you bring them around immediately? What would you do, Sunshine? I literally don't have an answer to that, but I think that's a great question to, I mean, discussion to have if you're getting in a new, if you are already today, whatever today's date is, we are titling this, "You are my man, I'm your woman." When do we, when do we start this thing? I'd never know that answer.
So I remember on the Steve Harvey show one time he said, if you wait too long and you fall in love with this person
Mm.
and your kids don't like them, then
Mm.
it's gonna be really hard to get rid of that relationship. So Steve Harvey was saying that it's best to get those introductions out ahead of time. Or like, what if you meet this man and you really fall in love with him and he don't like your kids? You know what I'm saying? It's
Mm.
a lot there.
Yeah.
I grew up in a household where my mom dated and I knew she dated and I knew of the men. They just never came around. Like we never hung out.
Gotcha.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and I think that's possible. Like,
You
but
just know he exists, but you, he
yeah,
don't have to be around you.
but again, age ranges. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How old are your children? I think it matters a lot differently if I've got wee little babies and
Mhm.
I'm planning on having you around for a long time versus I got a 17-year-old. I might not need to really introduce you to my 17-year-old and really don't care if y'all don't like each other. It's not a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And
But
that's the boat I'm in.
yeah, but if you got a 10-year-old
Yep.
and I'm about to try to spend my life with you, okay, it I might not introduce that person as my significant other, but we gonna hang out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do
Yeah.
some things together. We might not be all lovey-dovey on each other, but I at least need to see how y'all interact
Interact.
with each other
Yep.
before I let it known that nah, this my boo thing.
Right.
But again, you know me, I'm a person where it's not just about it's caveats to it. How old are my children? Are my children, do I, if I got older kids, am I one of them older like people who have older kids like Nicole? Where I mean Ashley is saying her kids don't never have to move out. So
Right.
that would be a different
And mine are
conversation.
still at home.
You know what I'm
My
saying?
17 and 22 are still at home.
So
I'm 18 and 22,
it
sorry.
yeah, it definitely matters how old your kids are. But we got a lot of comments. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. And when you do that, let me read this one. Said, I agree with her. My older kids, they met hold on. Sorry. I agree with her. My older kids, they met when they met. But the 12-year-old of mine, I don't know when is a good time. Yeah. He said he didn't know when a good time was for the 12-year-old, but the older kids, they just meet when they meet them. David said, if you are in a regular relationship, it shouldn't matter who your friends are. Your significant other should respect the bond and that you already have created before you met that individual. I agree. Some friends have they're like, mm, I agree with that to an extent, and every situation is different. I was dating somebody that literally had a very touchy, feely touchy friend. Meant no harm. They know they friends, but she's hella. touchy feely. Now, in a relationship, that would bother me. With us just kicking it don't bother me as much because I mean, that ain't my man. I don't have rules and expectations and stuff like that on you. But if you're trying to date me for real, you might need to tighten that up before we get into a relationship. So I respect the fact that they're friends, but I always say like you might want to check that before you get into a relationship because that can be an issue with somebody going forward. DJ Tiggs, shout out to DJ Tiggs. He said age definitely matters. Yeah, age definitely matters, and I will go with your point too. Age matters to an extent because if they still live in the house, then that age, it all goes into when to meet the kids all together because they're going to be seeing that person all the time coming in and out unless that person never comes to your house and you always go to their house, then they ain't never got to meet your kids at that point. But then that kind of goes like how deep into this relationship are you going to a point where they're not meeting the kids at any point. So having the discussion of when and how to meet the children if children are involved, that's another thing to think about too. If you're getting into a full-on relationship, do y'all want kids? And now that y'all are in a relationship, do you need to be married prior to having said kids? That becomes another relationship. Do you want to get married? So there's a lot of different conversations that definitely needs to be had before jumping into anything with someone of sexual or romantic interest. And some people feel like they shouldn't have these serious conversations with somebody they sleeping with. I think it's more important with somebody you just sleeping with. Because what if you get up pregnant? What if that person bring you a disease? What if that person got somebody that think they're in a relationship with them? Like these are serious questions, even if you are just sleeping with somebody, probably more so than somebody you're gonna marry.
I cannot stand when a person tells me that there are things that they cannot talk to the person that they have had sex with. Let me explain
Mm.
something to you. Once you have put your mouth on my body parts, or I have put my mouth on your body parts, there is no question, there is no conversation, there is no situation that I feel ashamed or that I can't talk to you or ask you about. At
Mm-hmm.
that point, we have done things biblically.
Yeah.
I can talk to you about whatever I want to talk to you about.
Uh-huh. And you better listen.
And you gonna
And you
listen
gonna listen.
because you put your mouth on me. You know what I'm
I used to
saying?
always say if I licked it, it's mine. And I
But
still stand on that to a degree.
I mean, when it really comes down to it, it's like for me, it's more so a situation of how are you going to be embarrassed to have a conversation with
I
me,
have done that.
but your ass was just up in the air and I saw your booty hole flexing. Like it's the most intimate of the most.
And she's talking about the girl in that position.
Yeah, yeah. But either way, it's just like these are the most intimate, most sacred positions.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
you afraid to ask me if I ever had an STD, sir?
Sir.
It's too late.
And how many people, I don't care about people in the past. I will never ask a man how many people he slept with. I don't care.
Mm-mm.
I just want to know how many you are currently. I don't even need to know who. I just need to know how many you are currently sleeping with while you're sleeping with me. That's what I need to know. And some people would be like, if it's more than one, you would still talk to them. If we in a situationship and we had the discussion of where we are, if I can handle it or I can't handle it, that is per per situation.
So the way my brain just worked when you said that, right? The
Hmm.
first thing I said was in my brain was I think it would depend on the rotation.
That part. So
Like
I
if
need to
you
know
having
how
sex with
many.
multiple people, but it's like, oh, I have sex with her like once every 2 months or whatever, or I smash her every once in a while, or I smash this one every day. Like I need that is
I
more
need to
so
know.
what I would want to know compared to how many of them it is. Because you're not
Hmm.
smashing me in the afternoon and smashing them in the evening or vice versa. I don't want that.
I don't
I
want
don't
that at
want that.
all.
But if you had sex with somebody maybe 2 weeks ago
Hmm.
and then we had sex, I really don't give a damn that much. But I
Hmm.
do care if
It's in.
I just
It's the
put my
same week
mouth
for
on
me
you
though.
and you just pulled it out of something. Like that's not gonna work for
Absolute.
me.
And can I? Again, I'm not about to take this sexual, but I do need to say this. I was talking to somebody and they said they would be more upset. They would, okay. women handle it better. I won't say women can handle it or men can't. Women can handle being cheated on better than a man can, right? But this guy said if you suck it, it's done. Like he could probably work through the sexual part. The oral part, it's the worst thing you can do. And he was like, because every woman doesn't perform oral on every man that she's with. And I'm like, I don't know if I believe that. He was like, you do to everybody you with. I'm not sleeping with somebody I can't be 100% comfortable
I
with.
was just about to
I'm
say,
definitely
so I've been
giving
out of this
oral.
game for a long time. So please don't take what I'm saying, because I've been out of this game for a long time. Okay. But I do have homeboys and homegirls, and I've had one of each tell me, if when we have relations, if I can't if I can't be myself and I can't, practice fellatio or kind of lingus on you, we not having relations because we
Yeah.
adults.
And
Like,
some
I
people
don't
say
know
they
no
don't even
adults that.
kiss. And I'm like, how?
So how we get started then?
There's no way. I'm okay. I'm not just picking up some bum off the street and taking them and putting them in my bed. It's obviously somebody I'm sexually attracted to that I want to continuously being sexually attracted to and sleeping with. So yes, I'm putting my mouth down there. So he was like, when he said that, I just stared at him, and he's like, what? And I was like, don't ask. I tell him this all the time. You cannot ask me a question that you don't want the answer to.
I'm an
Because he was
answer.
like, every woman, he was like, no, he said, because that man got to really mean something to a woman for her to put, her mouth. She's not just doing that to a dude that she just
No, he
sleeping
got to
with.
mean something if I swallow.
Some women don't care about that either.
I put my mouth on it, but I'm not carrying your kids in my stomach for you for no kind of way.
Not
Whether
just
the bottom or
anybody.
the bottom or the top, I'm not taking them in to keep them or just to recycle them back out. Like, the only way I'm swallowing is if I love you.
I gotta love you.
I gotta love you to swallow. I'm staying on that one. I gotta love. Otherwise, like, I'm not. You better let me know what's coming, or else I'll spit it back on it.
I'ma spit it on you. I'ma spit it on. Spit it on you.
I gotta love you to swallow.
Listen, David said, I also believe that you have to introduce your kids to someone in the middle, somewhere in the middle, because like Sunshine said, sometimes the kids may not like him or her, and they may not like your kids. So you have to find a happy medium in that situation. David, I absolutely agree. Got to make sure y'all like each other. We have a phone call. So who are we speaking to?
It's your boy DJ T.
DJ Tiggs is on the line. Hey, DJ. Go,
What's happening?
DJ. That's my DJ. What you got to say?
Hey man, y'all talking some good stuff here, but y'all right, man. I'm not going down on you if you ain't got down with the get down with the get down. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna put it out there like that.
So you're saying you not going down on just anybody, or you
Now
are?
I'm not. Now I'm not just going down on anybody, but I'm with KELZ on that one. If we yeah, if we doing if we legit we doing the damn thing, then it's like we getting 100% out there, bad boy. We doing it.
I mean, it is what it is. What we doing in here? If it ain't gonna be, if I can't
Like
be
we
100% comfortable, what we doing?
I mean, it's gotta be ugly for me
like
not to
we
go down
looking
there. It's gotta look funny
we
or
looking
something.
We ain't doing
elbows,
nothing. You ain't
we
putting it
looking
in me.
elbows and kneecaps and earlobes and back of the calf muscle.
David said I'm dead. P.
Calf
Josh,
muscle.
what'd you say, Tiggs?
David said I'm dead. I said we doing it all, back of the calf muscles and kneecaps and all
Not
that.
the calf muscles too,
Bye,
but
sir.
thank you for calling. So if anybody wants to call in, the telephone number is 404-254-4347. Again, that telephone number is 404-254-4347. If you want to see us in studio, then all you have to do is go on to YouTube, go to the Hits 92.3 YouTube channel. well, me, I always say us. Yeah, it's solo dolo right now for a little bit. We got my friends coming in. I got a married couple, so that's what we talk about. This I'm trying to get this all out because they about to give me the rundown on how to have a successful marriage and being in the limelight within their successful marriage. So I'm so excited to talk about that. But if you want to see little old me in studio, just go to Hits 92.3 YouTube channel and you can click on the live and you will see moi. Shout out to the person that joined my Instagram was the person that said that. He was like, I'm gonna say it because you wasn't here when we had the beginning of the discussion. When he was like, I would be more mad if a woman performed oral on a man because all women don't perform oral on all men that she's sleeping with. And I disagreed with that comment. So we got a couple of people that agree with me that if we doing it, we doing it. Now there are certain things within sexualness that I probably won't go distances with until I'm comfortable. But the more we're sleeping with each other, the more comfortable I am to where I ain't even gonna say that. Scratch. Anyway, back to discussion. That is one of the things that I will need to talk about is uh what did we how did we get there? What did we say? What led to oral within a relationship? Because that could be in any type of form of relationship, but it was something that was said to lead to that, and I was
I
like,
don't know, but you got a whole bunch of laughs on Instagram and TikTok. Like they cracked up.
I mean, we talk real on this show. My brain exposed, and apparently Sunshine's brain exposed. Picho had a comment. He said something about you being silly.
Who, me?
I think that's what he said. I didn't get to see it.
No, that was DJ T.
I
And
thought
since he
Picho
was
came
on the
through.
phone,
Oh, okay.
no, that was DJ T.
Oh, okay.
And since he was on the phone, I just didn't put it up.
Gotcha. All right. So if you're just tuning in, we are talking about the topics that you need to have before entering any form of relationship, whether it's a situationship. Everybody don't use that term. So when I say situationship, I'm meaning friend with benefit. I'm meaning a sneaky link. I'm meaning a side chick or a side dude. All the same thing. Everybody just has their different labels that they want to call it. So different conversations. I said one of the things you need to discuss that I would discuss is, are we open or are we closed if I'm getting into a full-on relationship? If we're a situationship, I need to know, are we exclusive or are we sleeping with other people? Are we hanging out or are we just calling each other when we bored? I need to know the specifics so I know before I lay down with this person if I'm comfortable with where we're going to be. So those are the things I would discuss in a situationship. Getting into a relationship, I need to know what we doing. What's your goals? What do you want from this relationship? Do you plan on this moving towards marriage if it goes that way? Are you just wanting a person that you can have a companion for the rest of your life and you don't necessarily need marriage? Do you want kids? Do you want more kids? Do you want to meet each other's families? If we are living in different states, are you expecting, if we're going further, am I moving there? Are you moving here? Like, there's so many different discussions that I think people leave out because they're just in their feelings and emotions of like, oh, I like this person. I want to either sleep with them or I want them in my life. And if you want them in your life, then you should have these discussions. If you want to sleep with them, you have to have these discussions. I just always feel like before you lay down with anybody, you got to ask everything. People make jokes about, are you single? Do everybody know you single? Because there's probably one person that swears you're in a relationship, even though you say, oh, I don't like her like that. But she thinks you're in a relationship. You need to check that before we go any further. We talked about, oh, that's what we were saying. How many people is that person sleeping with? And you went even further to say, if you are sleeping with multiple people, are you sleeping with people in the same day? Like, I'm over here in the morning and old girl coming tonight. Am I over here on Tuesday and old girl comes over here every weekend? Like, I would need to know that too. Now that you said that,
But not only, okay, just on another level too, like for real, you got to know that because people are crazy. And
absolutely.
I don't want to be at your house and somebody come knocking on the door thinking it's their night. And
Not their night.
yeah, nah, but for real though, because that's how you get shot
Yes.
or get bit in the toe.
I'm done. And there's like,
But
I was lotioning my toe the other day. It was like, there's this bone on the back of my foot. And I'm like,
that's a
did
tooth.
it ever really?
That's a tooth.
The tooth is
That's
still
a
there.
tooth. No, but no, yeah.
And you have to
especially-
have the history of the L.I.C.K show to even know what that story
Yeah,
is.
if you
We ain't
don't
gonna
know,
talk
we're not
about it.
telling you.
You should be tuning in every day because I be telling a little too much.
Yeah, if you don't know, we're not telling. But inside joke.
Inside joke.
But yeah, no, I think that's a big thing now too, especially after seeing some of our celebrities, because that's what happened with what's it called it? He was at some girl's house and some dude came in thinking that he was old girl's dude too. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta be careful with that. It's not just
Absolutely.
about, the STDs and stuff. Sometimes it's about the idea of I want to live. I want to live. But we're gonna go to a quick commercial break.
Yep. We'll be right back. L.I.C.K show hits 92.3.
Decatur, Lithonia, Conyers, Covington, McDonough, and all surrounding areas. Something Special Bar and Lounge presents Music Bingo and Karaoke. That's right, you heard me. Music Bingo and Karaoke every Wednesday at Something Special Bar and Lounge. On the 1 and 2s, we got DJ P-Joe. Not to mention, we got the host with the most, KELZ. We got drink specials, plus the full kitchen, seafood dip, salmon bites, sweet heat wings, jerk chicken egg roll. From 5 to 7 is our happy hour. Mix and match, 2 items, looking for good vibes, delicious drinks, delicious food. Something Special Bar and Lounge, 1377 Old McDonough Highway, Conyers, Georgia. The best spot on the east side. Express lunch on the go. Not to mention now open for lunch from 11 to 3 Monday through Friday. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Something Special Bar and Lounge.
Pretty face, little bitch, I know she busted. Hold them racks to my ears, I know she want me. Hop on your live, you know I'm watching, I'm your only fan. Hop on your live, you know I'm watching, I'm your only fan. You the one I want, you the one I need, your body pressure. When I grab that ass, I spread them cheeks, I gotta stretch it. I might say fuck that bed and put you on that dresser. Put some Bottega on your feet, now you a stripper. The way you fit in them jeans, the way you walk. New bands on a brand new bag, Dior, that bitch a ball. 10 lines on the sand, I know my bitches on that demon time. 2 hands on your knees, now do the dirty one. Rose gold really on all of my rings. Kiss her face, she lick my rings. Sometimes she just wanna fuck. Right after I got a cut. We don't have to kiss and tell. Nobody don't have to know. Look the way I hit it from the back, my hands around her throat. Yeah, pretty face, little bitch, I know she busted. Hold them racks to my ears, I know she want me. Hop on your live, you know I'm watching, I'm your only fan. Hop on your live, you know I'm watching, I'm your only fan. Yeah, pretty face, little bitch, I know she busted. Hold them racks to my ears, I know she want me. Hop on your live, you know I'm watching, I'm your only fan. Hop on your live, you know I'm watching, I'm your only fan. Yeah, freaky little text, I pull up on you in the middle of the day. Put the 40 right beside me, keep that pussy safe. Yeah, hands on the thighs, I look her in the eyes, I won't rush it. Neighbors hear you screaming, babe, I bet they know my name. My baby so wet, I told her I might just drown in it. I need like 10, hold up, baby, only 5. Yes, lipstick on my collar, I'm a pimp, fat pocket with the knots. Ready reach on your body, know I gotta beat the box. She know I don't play with that pussy. Water gun, I shoot that Uzi. Girl on girl, she know what I like. Get on top, now ride that bike. Slim thick in the waist, I don't know what she doing, but that kitty fat. Pillow and a blanket, fuck around, I fall asleep in that. Yeah, pretty face, little bitch, I know she busted. Hold them racks to my ears, I know she want me. Hop on your live, you know I'm watching, I'm your only fan. Hop on your live, you know I'm watching, I'm your only fan. Yeah, pretty face, little bitch, I know she busted. Hold on, Rex, my ears, I know she won't. Man, hop on your live, you know I'm watching, I'm your only fan. Hop on your live, you know I'm watching, I'm your only fan.
Decatur, Lithonia, Conyers, Covington, McDonough, and all surrounding areas. Something Special Bar and Lounge presents Music Bingo and Karaoke. That's right, you heard me. Music Bingo and Karaoke. Every Wednesday at Something Special Bar and Lounge. On the 1 and 2s, we got DJ P. Not to mention, we got the host with the most. KELZ, we got drink specials, plus the full kitchen, seafood dip, salmon bites, sweet heat wings, jerk chicken egg roll. From 5 to 7 is our happy hour. Mix and match, 2 items, looking for good vibes, delicious drinks, delicious food. Something Special Bar and Lounge, 1377 Old McDonough Highway, Conyers, Georgia. The best spot on the east side. Express lunch on the go. Not to mention now open for lunch from 11 to 3 Monday through Friday. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Something Special Bar and Lounge.
Hey, we are back. L.I.C.K Show Hits 92.3, and we have been talking about the topics that you should have before getting into any form of a relationship. So I'll just bring y'all up to speed.
Okay.
We were talking about conversations you should have, whether you're in a situationship, your sneaky link, your side chick, your side dude, in a full-on monogamous relationship or polygamous engagement, or even marriage. Even before you get into a marriage, the type of topics that you should have in serious discussions you should have with the person before you enter into that. Excuse me. So I was saying, like, if I was in a situationship, I need to know who and how many. What does this entail? Are we hanging out? Are we traveling? Are we just only calling each other for that? If I'm getting into a relationship, obviously we're cutting everybody off unless we're having an open relationship. Then those are conversations that we need to have. I didn't even get into the finances. I need to know that too before I even get into an engagement with somebody. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Or should you be engaged and then have those types of conversations?
No, I think that you should be upfront and honest from the beginning. Like, for example, when we started talking, we were very transparent about, the important things. Clearly you want to warm up to, revealing things as you're getting to know somebody. But, especially when you're entering a romantic relationship, you should be straightforward. I think that's the biggest issue with relationship or the dating scene today, is the fact that people aren't transparent. People put on characters and then things come out because they're always going to reveal themselves. So I think that the key, if you're interested in having any type of relationship, you need to give the other party the opportunity to really understand what you're all about, and then they have to make the decision for themselves if that works for them.
I love it. Yeah. All right, so let me introduce y'all to my guests that's in the building. I like to call them Mr. and Mrs. Defy Gravity. That's your company name, or where did that come from?
Well, Defy Gravity actually came from a book that I wrote.
Okay.
And an organization that I started, which is focused on helping people to overcome challenges, obstacles, adversity, self-limiting beliefs, anything that's hindering you from becoming the person that you want to be. That's what Defying Gravity is. Okay. So gravity, of course, is a force that holds you down, keeps you centered to the ground. But if you want to take off and excel in any endeavor, whether it's relationships, your career, your business, whatever the case may be, you're defying gravity when you're overcoming things and really just living the life and the lifestyle that you want to live. So that's where it came from. And then I started calling myself Defy Gravity. And then as we moved on, I'm like, hey, people might want to know what you got going on. We're married. So it's only right that you're Mrs. Defy Gravity. And then it just kind of took off from there.
And that's what I love the most, is because she has the Mrs. in front of it, and where some people would be like, I have my individual name, you have your individual. I was in love with the fact that y'all names matched each other just for social media itself. So what was it that thought process for you? Let me put these in front of y'all.
I think we both kind of came to the agreement that it didn't make sense for us to have our separate thing. Like, we're always in the mentality that if you want to go far, you go together. If you want to go fast, you go together. So trying to build two separate things up to, at the same time, it diverts resources, it diverts time and energy. So I was like, I really enjoy what it is that you do. I want to learn more about it. The best way is to come underneath your umbrella, what you already started, before I was even in the picture, and build that together. So it was a no-brainer. It was easy for me. I was like, Mrs. Defy Gravity. Yeah, I love it.
It was
I love
easy
it.
for her.
Yes.
She knew what she wanted. And what they say, if you want to, you will.
Exactly.
That's true.
If you want to, you will. I
Exactly.
love it.
Uh-huh.
How long have you all been married?
We've been married. It'll be 10 years in
October.
October.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yep, 10-year anniversary.
And it's so funny. Before we even started, I was saying, so shout out to Ivan. Ivan has been helping me with my show. Like a lot of my first probably 10, 15 guests came from Ivan. Every time he had somebody, hey, you need somebody? They got money? Send them my way. Send them my way. He put a lot of money in my pocket. So I always make sure that I stay in tune, stay in tap with what he has going on. So married to 10 years. We started this 6 years ago, and I always knew he had a wife, Miss Beauty over here, but y'all never posted each other online.
A little bit, not just too much.
Right.
Yeah.
Until I think either you were pregnant or you had a baby. How old are the kids?
So we have 4 kids. The oldest is 15. Then we have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and our youngest just turned 2 yesterday.
2. So it must have been the 6-year-old. You might have been
Probably.
pregnant the first time I ever saw him post you.
Okay.
And I was like, so they do little spurts.
Mhm.
And my sister is like that too. If they go on vacation, my sister's going to post her husband. Outside of that, they don't post each other. And I love how that works.
Yes.
Because like I said before we started, when I was married, we posted, we waking up in the morning, we brushing our teeth in the morning, we cooking breakfast in the week. Oh my gosh, it was so you can have a bad day and everybody That just gave me something else that I didn't even think to add to a list of topics that you have going into a relationship. How is the not because people will ask, how's the relationship with your mom and your dad? How is your mom's personality? How is your dad's personality? How are the people in your house personality? That matters other than how they treated each other.
Yeah.
What's that person like? I'm gonna be like, what's your mama's sign? What's your dad? What's your daddy's zodiac sign?
Seriously.
I didn't even think about. Let me jot this stuff down because if your dad was like very mean and abusive, and your mom was like she wear the pants and ain't no man gonna tell her, because my goddaughter, she has an issue with men giving direction because she grew up with aunts, and the aunts don't play that.
Yeah.
So there's no male structure coming from the mom, the aunts, the people in the house, and they would never let a man tell them what to do. So coming in with me, when she had a job, she told me, she literally out her mouth said, "I don't like no man telling me what to do." And she's 17. Like, what are you talking about? You got to listen to any adult, first of all.
You gotta listen to
But that was so
everybody.
deep to me because I was like, now when I have conversations, I'm like, there's certain things you have to do if you have a man. I tell my daughter this too. When her room isn't clean, I was like, there is no man that's going to take you serious with this dirty room. And she's like, how you putting me in a marriage and my room is not? I just be like, I just always, because there's no man in the house.
Right.
So I always want them to know, how you talk to a man, how you treat a man, how you carry yourself. That is going to matter when you decide you want to get into a relationship.
Right.
So that leads me to what you guys have to watch from y'all couch is this dating pool that everyone says is pee in it. What are y'all thinking about how relationships are going now, even with situationships, even with men feeling like women are too masculine and women are calling men sassy, like all the stuff that's going on? What are your thoughts? Because y'all are like watching like a TV show because y'all married.
I got a lot of
Been
opinions.
itching to get to this topic. I'll let you go first.
No, I talk about it all the time. Like
Let's hear it. Let's hear
the
it.
dating pool is trash.
Mm.
It's trash. It's a junkyard.
Mhm.
And I think that it's just myrtled with ego. It's all about transactions. It's all about selfishness and what can I get out of somebody? How can I get what I want out of someone while giving the least? And I feel like people operate out of a state of fear and insecurity. And, I watch podcasts all the time. I'm a big podcast person. So I've seen a lot of the different dating podcasts with people who don't know what they're talking about, people who don't have a track record of a successful relationship or haven't even been in a long-term relationship because they might not even believe in it. But those are the people with the mouthpieces and the position to
experts.
supposedly educate other people about how they're supposed to go about relationships, how they're supposed to manage it. And I'm like, there needs to be more married people who enjoy their relationships because they actually do exist. Right. Everybody doesn't think women are trash. Every black man doesn't think black women are trash. And I know that's the same for women as well. Every black woman doesn't think that black men ain't, I don't know if you curse on it, but
ain't ish.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just feel like, at the end of the day, like there's a huge change that needs to happen. And I do think that there's issues with the modern woman. I'm going to just keep it real. I think that there's issues with the modern man, but I think from a men's perspective, we got to take more accountability because I think the problem started with us. And that might be controversial for some men, especially the red pill dudes out there, all these people who want to talk about alpha man, this and all of that stuff. But I think if you're really an alpha man, you recognize that you got to take the responsibility and accountability because you're the person expecting submission, which means you expect to be in the leadership role. And if you're a leader, whether good or bad, you have to be the person to assume responsibility and change the landscape. Whether you're a coach on a team, it starts with you. You're the leader. If you can't get your players on the same page, you go. If you are the CEO of a company or you're the president and you can't lead the country the way that the people who voted for you expect for you to run the country, you're gone. You might not get a second election. Right. So I think we have to take the same mindset with relationships, especially men. If you want women to submit to you, if you want to be the leader in the household, you got to take responsibility. And it starts with us not creating these broken homes. It starts with men not just running through a bunch of women, actually having some respect and value in your women.
Right.
And, because there's other cultures who I mean, I can go on and on, but it pisses me off to see black dudes just exalting every other group of women. I'm like, you guys are the corniest dudes on the planet. If you don't prefer to be with a black woman, then just don't be with a black woman. I don't give a damn. I don't need to hear all your reasons why. You don't need to get with another race and then just trash black women. You get what I'm saying? And I think that that's corny, and that's the culture that we live in right now, where it's like freedom of speech. You know, say whatever you want, be blunt, don't give a damn about anything or anybody's feelings, and that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. To your point, I think even though social media is great and can be a great tool, I feel like social media also played a role in why the dating pool is trash and the way that it is, because it's like it's made relations so accessible. Like a man can go on social media and just see 5,000, 10,000 women showing everything. So if he doesn't have great character, or if he doesn't exhibit self-control, even if that's the person that you're in a relationship with, it's like now I'm competing with the masses to make sure I'm trying to keep this man fed, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally. And then on the women's side, it's like it might help you to develop more insecurities, because it's like now you're feeling like you're in competition with these women. Oh, well, I see he liked this picture, so this must be what he wants. So now I have to look like this, or I have to act like this. Yes. And then what you don't realize is that on social media, people are only going to show you the best, or the best of their self. So you're finding yourself attracted to what you see, but it's just a filter. It's an image. You don't really see that person for who they really are. So I feel like that's a huge issue too.
Ooh. Y'all said so much. I was like, I had some points to go to you, but then I lost it, and I got some points.
So
No, it's good. And this is why I want to have more conversations with married couples, specifically for what y'all are saying. Social media makes it cool to be single. It's cool to, like, even now, living in Douglasville, they have built at least, when I moved to Douglasville, it was probably maybe 1 or 2 apartment complexes, and you had to search for them. They were never out in the open. In the last 2 or 3 years, they've built about, I don't know, at least 7 or 8 apartment complexes. And they are all next to each other, one street over, one street there. And they make them so nice to where it's set up for singles. So it's like the world pushes singleness. Poly came in, same sex came in. It's cool to travel alone. It's the independent black woman, all of that. So, that's where I was going to your point. I would agree with you 100%, but I'll add to that too, not to just fault the men. I think now a lot of men are trying, but they're trying too late, because now you have the independent black woman. So they're like, if a man is going to use me for sex, let me at least get what I need out of the situation, because he's going to leave at some point once he gets it. I was talking to my son about this. So I said, because he was like, women are acting like this. And I was like, you got to understand. He made me laugh. He said, we need to go back to how it used to be. I said, when y'all used to just cheat on us and have families across the street. Is that what you're saying? Right. He was like, yeah. So my point to him was, it started that way. I asked him, if sex is the man's end goal, and now in 2025, the woman is willing to give you sex in exchange for money, when sex was the end goal for generations to come, and you would do whatever you needed to do to get sex. You would manipulate her, you would take her out, you'll do this, you'll do that. If the woman is like, I'm cool with you getting the sex if you just give me the stuff, what's the problem now? Like, it should work, because everybody gets what they want. But now the men are like, women are this, and they're expecting us to give them money. But that's what you were doing secretly.
That's what you were leading with.
You were leading with that. So what's the problem in 2025 when the woman is finally saying, you know what, you don't have to sneak and do that.
Right.
Just give it to me. And I'll give it to you. And now it's like, oh, she fast and all they want is your money. That's what you were giving me to get it in the first place. Right. Now, women, the men, I feel like, to add to that point, they're trying now, because the feelings are getting hurt, and they can't get certain women because the women they're independent. They're getting the higher paid jobs. They're living in these 1-bedroom, amazing, beautiful apartments, and they don't need to add another person to it. Meanwhile, the man has learned, well, since she's independent, I'm going to learn to cook, clean, hang out with my friends, or be comfortable being by myself. Now I don't need her to move in. What I need her for? I can do all this stuff myself. Yeah. So I'm just like, the men are like, okay, I'm trying now. And the women are like, I don't want no parts of it. So it's like, it flipped. So at some point, we need to have more content of married couples to know that you all still exist and it's
Right.
okay to be married
We're here.
and
Right.
still
Yeah.
do everything that situationships do, because
Yeah.
I got into where I got super comfortable in situationships.
Mm.
I go out, have dates, lovey-dovey. Oh, you're my person, and then I get to go home at the end of the
Right.
day by myself and
Mhm.
wake up. What I want to do? I want to hang out with my friends today. I want to hang out with the kids. I don't have to call nobody. I
Mhm.
don't have no kind of responsibility to nobody, and it has become the way of the world to where when we get old, we're gonna be like, we ain't got nobody.
Right.
Who is going to be there? I had a friend that said, I asked him, I said, so when you get old, you expect your kids to take care of you? He was like, no, I'm gonna have a nurse and I've already got funds set to the side for that. I thought, this man plans to die alone and he's got a
That's
nurse
wild.
that's going. And I'm like, some people just really don't want to tap in, but the people that do say that there's pee in the pool because we don't see this.
Mhm.
Right.
We don't see enough of this.
Yeah.
So I always said, like, I want to make sure I have these conversations to know that it's okay and it's cool to be married.
Mhm.
Right. That's the thing. It's cool to be married. You know, in our culture, it's cool not to be married. You know, it's cool
Mhm.
to be the player. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And not to, I mean, I understand the game. You know, I wasn't always somebody who was always wanted to be in a relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I knew that when I got married, I knew that I was going to do it the right way because, you know, I believe, and I'm not the most religious person, but I'm very spiritual. I know people say that all the time,
Mhm.
but
I'm saying.
yeah, but like when I made a vow to God and to myself and to my wife, and I spoke in front of all of those people, I wasn't lying. Right. And I think that my biggest thing is just, you know, as a man, we have a saying, all you have is your word and your balls. You know what I'm saying? So to me, being a man of my word and following through on what I say that I'm going to do is very important to me. And I
Mhm.
think that that's the key to getting respect in any other endeavor.
Very true.
Yeah.
So why not in your marriage? So I mean,
Mm.
you know, I think
I think a
yeah.
lot of people got turned off from marriage. I would say from men per se, because kind of touching on what Ivan said earlier, it being transactional. Like, okay,
Yeah.
well, what do I stand to gain from being married? Whereas if this doesn't work out for the woman, she's leaving with half of my stuff.
Mm.
And then I think an added layer to that is that I think a lot of people are afraid of marriage because when you're married to someone, now I have to be accountable to you. Like all my actions can't just be on me. It doesn't just affect me. And a lot of people don't want to deal with that. Like you said, you go on a date and after the date is
Yep.
over, I don't have to deal nothing with what you got going on. But
Mhm.
when you're married, it's like,
Yep.
okay, if I'm leave to go somewhere, okay, babe, I'm going to the store. Like not that you have to do those things, but you're gonna
Respecting your
respecting your partner.
But let me ask you a question, Kels. Do
Mhm.
you ever get tired of going on these dates?
Yes. Quick yes. Absolute yes.
So it's like you're not accountable, but it's like, you know, okay, I've done this 30 times now. How many times am I going to keep meeting this dude, going out
Mhm.
with this guy? Because I would think that even dinner, even bags, even trips get old if there's nothing else, no other value outside of that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You're not holding on to memories. You are not forging strong relationships and
Surface level.
connections.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
was always surface level. So
Yeah.
for me, I would throw myself into work. So
Mhm.
2024, I literally hosted 7 nights a week. And that was to make sure that I didn't want to take a pointless date or to go out with someone that I had zero interest in. Because at first, when people make jokes about it, I literally was one of those women that I ain't doing nothing. Let me go out with them because that'll give me something to do.
Right.
I go get me some good food, some good conversation, and I don't know, I'll figure out what I'm doing tomorrow. Or I might take another date tomorrow. That's how literally I didn't even care who it was, just somebody to go out with. Now, if I am sitting across the table with somebody, that means I gave my time. And my time is very it's this I get this much time. So if I'm giving it to somebody, I see something in that person to where if we keep doing this, I can see myself in a relationship with this person.
Right.
I don't like to spend time with just somebody that I don't have any type of interest in. So I won't
Right.
go on those dates.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was super duper duper tired of like date after date, asking the same questions, hearing the same answers. And then now, um, you get a lot of side chick or situationship proposals. And so, like I was saying before y'all came in, I was like, I had to check myself, like, let me check my social. What am I posting?
Yeah.
What is making people come at me with it? Like, it was back to back dudes, like, I'm not looking
Wow.
for a relationship, but, we can kick it. And I'm like, do I give kick it energy? And talking to other women, we are all saying the same thing. So that's just where it is to where I got into that. The last couple years, the last 3 years, I have done situationships only. And they have worked, but I always know my end goal is never to stay in this forever. Like I want something more concrete. And I don't know if I could be with somebody that isn't for marriage and I can be cool as long as we are connecting with each other. Where in the past, I wouldn't even deal with somebody that was like, I don't want marriage. If a person wants to get married, I'm also for marriage too. So I'm 100% for marriage, but it's not a deal breaker now if a person isn't, because the world is just so crazy. I think if we had more conversations, then I would feel more comfortable with, I'm never going to date somebody that would never get married. Because that's where I used to be, because marriage was all I knew. Now it's like, I'm lucky to meet somebody that's married.
Yeah.
It's just become that now.
I think so. Aside from the accountability part of it, I think a lot of people are also afraid of marriage because it's going to reveal some things to you that you might not be ready to check. Like for me, when we got, married, I was like, I'm the it girl. You lucky to be with me. But then it started to reveal, okay, no, Autumn, you have these insecurities. No, Autumn, you're very defensive when it comes to this. No, Autumn, people can't teach you anything. No, Autumn, you have all these fears. So I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'm not all that, So I don't think people are ready to really see themselves clearly, because when you're going home, alone, you don't have to be, like I said, accountable to anybody. You can just kind of do your own thing. But when somebody's seeing you every day, they gonna notice certain things.
Gonna notice.
Like, I noticed that every time we have a conflict, instead of wanting to talk about it, you run away. You want to shut down. You don't want to say anything. And so I think that's
Or I see your room. You really keep your room dirty, but you be cleaning up when I come over. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't talking about me.
That's me. No, he literally talking about me. Oh, and I said that I literally when I say I have serious conversations with people, that is one thing I said. I went to a man's house and that house was super clean. I was like, oh, you don't want to stay with me then, because I have all kind of clothes on my bed. I have a cleaning day. The rest of the week, that stuff gonna stay there. And I was like, ooh. And he was like, as long as you don't care about me cleaning up. Oh, if you like cleaning up. So I would always make sure. Yeah, exactly. And those are the kind of conversations that I have. To your point, though, I noticed that about myself after my divorce. Okay. And so I was like, he cheated and he did this and he did that. And then the more I started learning and like trying to heal from the relationship, it became more of a healing myself. And I'm like, oh, this is probably why you got cheated on. This is probably why he didn't want to talk to you about certain things. This is probably why. And then everything started to reveal itself to me. And I was like, you wasn't ready to be married. You like, I got married the first time. I was super young. So of course I wasn't ready, but I made myself ready. And we had a great 14-year relationship. I won't even say 14 years. We still have a great relationship to this day with our kids. We hang out with the kids. If I ever need, I already know I can call him, and he already know if he ever needs, he can call me. So great. Second time, I literally, like, I just transferred how I was in that first relationship, overthinking that it was going to work into this one.
Yeah.
And I was a grown woman at that point. The first one, I was 17. This one, I'm 32. So, girl, you are not the same person trying to move the same. And it was a lot of things that I didn't do within that relationship that I should have done. One is I always say this is Hits became my boyfriend. Hits was my husband. I put I was tunnel vision. I got to do this. I got to do that. Yeah. I'll come back. Oh, what you need now? I got to get home. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. So that became my husband. He found it elsewhere. I didn't think about any of this stuff within the relationship. And like you said, people that are single, they don't take the time to do that. I always know at the end of the day, I want to be in a relationship. So even with me hosting at night, I was working gigs that would, the establishment closes at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, if I got in a relationship later on and down the line, would that be a problem? I might have to date somebody in nightlife for it to not be a problem, because the person that gets off at 5 o'clock and every night I leave at 7 to go to work. When are we gonna see each other? Because then in the day, you getting up to get ready for work at 7 o'clock in the morning, it's probably gonna piss me off. Because now you turn the light on.
You making noise.
You making noise. Can you be quiet while you trying to put your suit on and go to work?
For real.
So yeah, it's just a lot of different things that I did personally to make myself prepared for a relationship. Because I don't want to go into a relationship broken. And I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Um, any advice you can give to me moving into a relationship if I want to get into another, because this would be a third marriage for me.
I would say don't be afraid to have the real conversations. You don't strike me as somebody who does,
Mm-hmm.
but I know that that's important because, for example, if you don't want, and it sounds like, you've been meeting dudes who want to be in situationships, at least they're honest about that. So you have
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity to say, no, I don't want to deal with that and move on, or you can go along with it. But I think that's the biggest issue in relationships, is not being transparent. Like, for example, when we first met, I had, been dating and been out there a little bit, and I grew tired of it, just to be completely honest. And I made up my mind, like, before we met, that I'm not wasting no time with this one. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna know immediately, because we know, what I'm saying, we know what kind of woman we want. We know when we want the woman that we're dealing with. It don't take, I know in less than an hour if I want to deal with you at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, really, if you're in a situation with a guy and you're like, what are we, or you don't have a clue, then
you know.
you're probably not the
You're
one.
not-
You're not doing.
anything.
You're not her.
You're not any.
You're
I
not
told
her.
somebody. I told him. I said, I'm not her for you. I'm not
Yeah,
her.
at least for that
Yeah.
person, because we know pretty early. We know early if, like, okay, I'm going
I
on
feel
a second
bad.
date with this person. You know that. If it's somebody based off of, I talk about real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I hate small talk. So I like to figure out who you really are. And I'm really actively listening when you're talking to me. So I'm like, okay, what does she think about this? What's her background? Like, not like prying. We have
Yeah.
real conversation, not where you're like being investigated, but when someone's communicating, you get a feel for their character. You get a
Right.
feel for what's important to them.
Mm-hmm.
You get a feel for how they might value relationships, and just the way the conversation goes, if they're interested in really getting to know you. So all of those things in the first 45 minutes to an hour, I'm like, okay, she cool. So we're definitely going to connect again. So we moved kind of quickly, I guess you could say. We went on, like, the third time we saw each other, we were together. We made a choice that we were together.
And
You
what
get
did
what
I
I'm
tell
saying?
you early on?
What'd you say?
What?
Well, and then for me, just even having boundaries. So, like, when we got in a relationship, I told him, I was like, no pressure, but just to let you know, within a year of us being together, you need to know, like, what we're doing.
Come
Like,
on.
I said, you got a year, and he
Mhm.
proposed in 11 months.
Oh,
He took me serious, but I was at the same place as him. I was like, I'm tired of just dating just to date. Like, I was on my knees crying to God, like, God, please, like, I can't do it. Like, I'm at that point. Like, I
Yeah.
can't do it anymore. The next person that comes into my life needs to be the one, or I'm fine with getting a dog and just
We just talked about
making
this.
money and going to brunch with the girls, because I literally did not have the energy and was not in the headspace to entertain any more BS. I told him, I was like, listen, I'm not sleeping with you unless it's just the two of us. Like, I laid it down, and I know he probably initially, was looking at me like, okay, this girl is serious. But I was so to that point that I was like, even if what I'm telling him right now scares him away, so be it. Like, I was willing to
that
risk
part.
it, because I was so dead on with what I wanted in a relationship and what I did not.
I kind of feel bad about something.
What?
So, flip side of situationship proposals, I would get the opposite too, of somebody wanting to rush into her. I felt like it was a rush, and I'm like over here like, oh, y'all just, because I'm like, we only went on 2 dates, like, but he knew exactly what he wanted, and he went after exactly what he wanted. To me, I just felt like maybe I'm used to getting love bombed, that this was another
Yeah,
love bomb.
love bombing and all of that stuff
definitely a
exists. So
thing.
I'm not saying to rush, but I feel like we know.
Mhm.
You know when there's a real connection. You could be wrong later on and maybe find something out. It
Mhm.
happens, but life is a risk. And my thing is, if you become like an item or something, you can't break up. So
Yeah,
it's like
that's very.
you're not
and-
married.
Oh, he
you know
said
what I'm
that too.
saying?
He
So
said
it's
that
like,
too.
so I mean, at the end of the day, like, what are you afraid for if you do feel a certain way? Now, granted, I mean, I get there's scenario. People are weird. You know what I'm saying? There's situations where you break up with a guy, or you, even if you don't know the guy and you express that you're not interested, things can happen. But I think so. You just have to know that you're making the right decision for yourself, and then leave it up to that person to do what they got to do. They're either going to follow through, or they're going to make a mistake. They're going to prove you right, or they're going to prove you wrong. So when we met, she had those types of standard. We did have a talk like that, but I wasn't like, afraid of it because, like I said, I was in a similar state of mind at that point, and I respected her for having those standards and
That was
kind of
about to be my
having that
next question.
timeline. And I didn't want my time wasted at that point. I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
wasting anybody's time. And I think lots of times in these relationships, it's just like people are playing characters. It's like we're grown people.
Right.
Why play games?
Why?
If I like you or if you like me, we ain't got to do okay. Like I texted her today, so let me wait 3
Let me
days.
wait 3
to hit her
days.
up. Or you know what? When she calls, I'm not gonna answer. I'll hit her back in about 5 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like
The game.
it's like this isn't high school. We're grown people. So it's like, why play games when you're grown? If you know that you want something, like anything, like a career, go after it, and you just take what comes with it. When you make a decision, own up to your decision.
Own up to
And then
the
we gotta recognize it's not
Ooh.
always the other person's fault when something doesn't work out too.
Right.
So I mean, it's just being honest with yourself. I think because we lie to ourselves a lot. We lie to ourselves about, our character, where we are in our lives, what our feelings are. Some of us don't really truly understand our own feelings. So I think you got to take that time to be really introspective and have that aha moment about yourself where it's like, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is why I don't like it, these are the steps that I've taken to improve myself based on mistakes that I know I made in my previous relationship. Not that you were a bad person, but there are things that maybe you could have improved on. There's always lessons that you might take from a previous dealing with somebody else, and you say, you know what, I'm going to be a little more mindful of this, or I'm going to approach it this way and see how that goes for me. Life is an experiment sometimes. So
Amen.
you're going to fail sometimes, you're going to make mistakes, but you got to learn from your lessons. And I think
fail
that
up.
you got to fail up. So
And to your point too, I agree with that. And you said, I'm not going to go into a discussion about certain things you said was confirmation of something I needed. I'll keep trying to look at Sunshine's face like, we just talked about this before the show started. I got to talk to her offline about that. I can tell y'all about that offline too. So that helped with that. But to your point too, when you were saying about certain reasons why people might not want to be in a relationship, is the fear of getting hurt. Outside of the finding out who they are, outside of finding out or losing the freedom, is if I do this again, like you said, if this one is done, I'm done. And no discredit to you. What if that next one was the person and you were like, because it didn't work with Ivan, I'm not trying this again. That happens, I feel like, more times than not from both sides. When certain men are like, I will never get married or never get married again, it's because they're the fear of getting hurt again. Not necessarily of, I don't want the responsibility and I don't want to have to see myself of that person might hurt me and that hurts and I can't handle
scarred.
it. Yeah, that's the scary part of it too. Is it not working out again? And I think my process was the process that I did simply because I was married twice. And so I'm like, if I ever get married again, that's got to be the last one. So this person, I have to, like I always say, I got to see you naked. And I'm not just talking about taking your clothes off. Like I need to know every skeleton. And if that like everyone has that one thing in that relationship that's probably never going to change, but you accept them for it. Whatever that is, before I even get in a relationship with you, I have to make sure that that thing I can handle.
Right.
Because if I get in a relationship with you, obviously it's not going to go away. If we get into an engagement and then we get into a marriage, I don't want every time I get mad to be mad at that thing. So I'm like, I got to know this person, everything. Like, what is that one thing that's going to drive me crazy? And can I handle it if I continue to talk to you? So that's where I'm at with even getting into a relationship is.
And I think that's kind of where we both were. That place that you're saying that you want, like just being able to see someone naked, all their scars, everything that they have ever been through. That's where we were. And it was a scary place for me because I was like,
okay,
after he see all of this, he is not gonna want nothing to do with me. But I was just at such a place where I'm like, well, this is it. Like I laid it all out. I'm like, this is what you're dealing with. Can you handle it or not? And Ivan is a man's man. That's all I got to say, because like any possible thing that I could have been going through, I was going through, and he was able to witness that. Like from me being in therapy because I was dealing with depression, from just all kinds of different things that was going on in life. I was in school in my master's program and was stressed out about that, and then things at home. It was so much stuff. Like any typical thing that a Black woman could probably be going through, I had went through. And I just let him know everything about what was going on. And he was like, you know what? I see where you're at right now, but I know that's not who you are. Like he was able to see past the trauma and past the hurt and was like, I know you're a great woman. I can see by the way that you love. I can see by the way that you deal with me. I can see by the way that you deal with, you know, Sean, who was our oldest. That's Ivan's son from a previous relationship, but I've been in his life since he was 3. So even just taking that on, he was like, I see how you treat my son. Like I see how you are with your friends, with your family. He was like, yeah, that's the person that I want. So let me help you get back there.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's important. That is the most important thing, is someone seeing where you are, but they know he saw you naked.
Mhm.
I see, cool, I see the clothes, but I see beneath all of that, and I know that's not you. Or if that's you, I can help you to get out of that, to be a better person or in a better situation.
And
That's
I know
important.
that, and I know that's scary because a lot of people say you can't date potential, right? You hear that all the time. I hear a lot of women say that. Number one, where you can't date potential. but but I think,
What do you consider potential? Let's start there first.
what do I consider potential?
Yeah.
I see potential. Someone could be going through something, but that's why I say the transparency is key. Like I'm gonna ask the right questions.
Okay.
You know, like I know that might just be the PR, you know,
Mhm.
business
Mhm.
person within me, where I'm gonna
You know how
get
to
the
get it out of you.
information
I was like,
that I
"Ugh."
need, and then I'm gonna pay attention to how you respond.
Okay.
Right. And I think that, you know, someone could be going through something. It's not like somebody just has some lofty goal and you don't see them actualizing it in any way. Like she was going through PA school. I'm like, okay, I know the woman is smart. You know, I know that she's working hard. I see how she's trying to carry these things and she's not getting a certain level of support. I could see where the stress comes
Gotcha.
from.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I know that, you know, what the other side could potentially look like. And based on the conversations that we have, you know, there are a lot of things where there was synergy. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to help her kind of get through this and let her know that she does have somebody to support her going through this transition in her life. And, you know, it wasn't always easy. I'm going to just keep it real. But
Yeah.
I think that the communicating to understand is important. We all have traumas. We all have things from our past. You know what I'm saying? And I see that whether I don't care if it's my parents, I don't care if it's a sibling, I don't care if it's me. There's a reason why we behave from past experiences and traumas. There's a reason why we're behaving that way. So first you got to see what's the root of the problem, but how is that individual working through the root of that problem? Have they even acknowledged the root of the problem? And lots of people are going through trauma and stuff and they won't acknowledge it. Where you're the partner on the other side and you see, you know what, if you did this, or if you thought like this, or if you just did this, you know, you could be amazing. Like you're talented, but they're not really operating
They
in
fight
it.
you on
So
it.
I think,
Or
in
they
any
fight you on it.
relationship, you got to see, I know with men, vision is important.
Yeah.
So a woman can't be with a guy who doesn't have vision or doesn't have a sense of purpose, because then it's like, if I were to even consider letting you lead me or falling into this with you, where are you taking me? I have no clue. You don't know where you're taking yourself. You don't even have a plan, right? So I think that's important.
So what if he has good intentions, but not necessarily a plan?
Good intentions with no plan is, I mean, there's a saying that piss poor performance prevents, no, prior preparation and planning prevents poor performance.
Come on.
So if you don't have a plan, but you have good intentions, then you don't have anything but intentions. It don't mean
It's not
anything.
gonna go anywhere.
I want to do right by you, but I can't. Like, how does that work? How does that work? I see you a good woman, but I still got to treat you bad because I'm not there yet. I don't have the plan for how I'm going to treat you well. You get what I'm saying? So I think that, you know, intentions without a plan is I mean, nothing really. You can't.
And I feel like there gets to a point where that's just not enough. Like even back to what you were saying about how, you know, it's dangerous to date potential. We were kind of in a different place because I was still like in my early 20s. Ivan was still young too. So in a stage like that where, you know, people are still in school, they're still figuring out who they are, I think it's okay to date potential. Once you hit 30 or beyond, I feel like that excuse is off the table. Like who you are 9 times out of 10 that's all you're going to be. Like potential is off the table, because if there's something that you wanted to do in your life or a way that you would have maneuvered, I feel like by that time it would have happened, or all the steps would already kind of be in place for that to come to fruition.
I mean, I don't 100% agree with that, but I do think that, you know, the exception doesn't make the rule. You
Right.
know,
Okay.
I do think, we see all these multimillionaires, billionaires, I don't care who it is, KFC, whatever, they're making those moves in their 40s.
But
So,
you see their
yeah, but you
trajectory
see the
beforehand.
trajectory,
Yes.
and you see them putting those words to action. So
Yes.
like, okay, I see what this person is about. So I do
Exactly.
agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I gotta have y'all back again
Oh, yeah,
because I've
definitely.
got so many more questions, but it is time to wrap up.
Mm.
Tell everybody where to find y'all, and just one really quick question again
Mhm.
is why put it out there for everybody? Like even being here today, what is the goal?
I mean, the goal is really just to motivate and inspire people to live a great life. And I think that a lot of people are hurting. The current dating culture is really just a sign that people are hurting. All you got to do is go online, listen to all the podcasts. People are just trashing each other. There's a war between men and women. That's stemming from pain and that's stemming from trauma. So clearly there needs to be some healing, but at the root of it all, people want to be in relationships. No man is going to sit there on a podcast all day just talking about women if he really doesn't want a woman. He's trying to convince women to be a certain way so that I
he
can get
be
with
with
you.
one.
And the women on the other end are doing that vice versa, right?
Vice
So,
versa.
I mean, I'm trying to just let people know that, marriage is a beautiful thing when two people can come together and build something together and share a vision and work towards that goal. Is way better than just being by yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And just trying to play our part into just helping things be better for the next generation. Like we have kids. I don't want my daughter to have to deal with a lot of the challenges that I had to face. And I've been the same, for our sons, just teaching them how to be the men that will help, kind of just bring the culture forward, because it's like you said, it's trash, but I'm hoping that by conversations like this and just our little piece of social media, us trying to, promote positive family images, that helps the next person.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, tell everybody where to find y'all.
So you can find us on Instagram at Mr. Defy Gravity and
Mrs. Defy Gravity.
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
You want to talk real quickly about your business?
Sure. So I own a PR and brand management company called Intrigue Media Group, which has been operating since 2014. And what we do is we support business owners, entrepreneurs, celebrities. It doesn't matter if you have a vision, if you have things that you're trying to attain and build more public awareness of that. We help you to do so through strategic communications. So if you need to get your brand out there, if you need press coverage for initiatives or projects that you're working on, make sure that you reach out. You can email me at ivan@intriguemediagroup.com. You could also visit the website at www.intriguemediagroup.com.
All right.
And he is real deal because, like I said, when they first came here, he's put a lot of money in my pocket. And you.
And just to piggyback on that, with our social media platforms, we're also available for brand collaborations. So if there are any brands that are just trying to bring awareness to what it is that they're trying to do, we'd like to just put out, unique experiences for couples that might be, wanting to bond or just need to learn how to spend more time together, that sort of thing.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. All right. Thank y'all so much for
Thank you.
coming in. We definitely have to do this again.
Yeah, let's
We'll
do it.
talk about that offline. So it is Monday. We have Nana Lane. She don't like when I call her Nana Lane, but that is my Nana Lane. She has a show at 6:00. Faith 3T. Why couldn't I get that out? Faith 3T. It comes on at 6:00 this evening. Shout out to Sunshine, our engineer, and also the flagship show at Hits 92.3, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. with All Hustle No Fear. Am I anywhere? I'm nowhere tonight. I am chilling. I'm gonna have a conversation with them offline before they have to head out and do what they need to do. But make sure y'all follow us on all social media platforms. Hits 92.3. You can find me, The Real Who is KELZ. We are looking for new shows. So if anybody wants their own show, you can send your information to hits923newshow@gmail.com. And you can talk about the current show you have. If you've never had a show whatsoever, we do train. So it doesn't matter. Hit us up and let us know that you want a show, and we will go from there. And y'all have an amazing day. Peace.
Peace.
Decatur, Lithonia, Conyers, Covington, McDonough, and also Decatur, Lithonia, Conyers, Covington, McDonough, and all surrounding areas. Something Special Bar and Lounge presents Music Bingo and Karaoke. That's right, you heard me. Music Bingo and Karaoke every Wednesday at Something Special Bar and Lounge. On the 1 and 2s, we got DJ P. Joe. Not to mention, we got the host with the most, KELZ. We got drink specials, plus the full kitchen. Seafood dip, salmon bites, sweet heat wings, jerk chicken egg roll. From 5 to 7 is our happy hour. Mix and match, 2 items. Looking for good vibes, delicious drinks, delicious food, something special. Bar and lounge, 1377 Old McDonough Highway, Conyers, Georgia. The best spot on the east side. Express lunch on the go. Not to mention now open for lunch from 11 to 3 Monday through Friday. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Something special. Bar and